Ghostpaw. Would-Be Heroes, written by Adam Valdivia. It was right around 9:30 at night when Allison Rose glanced over at the clock. She was excited because it was almost time for her to clock out. Allison had been working the night shift at her job for a few weeks now, and it had been a struggle for her to adjust to the late nights. Allison, for the better part of 2 years, had normally worked the morning shift, but had agreed to switch shifts for a good friend. Allison knew it wasn't a permanent change, and she was happy she could help. However, she felt a little guilty, knowing that she couldn't wait to go back to her old shift. Allison worked at a small coffee shop, and she really enjoyed working there. She got along great with the customers. She always had a smile on her face, even if the customer was being a jerk. Her belief was that a small smile goes a long way, and always hoped that it would brighten someone's day, even if it was just a little. Allison tried her best to stay on the positive side of things, no matter how low it got. Even now, as she was wiping down the counters, cleaning up some small crumbs and sugar stains left behind, she was looking forward to clocking out. After tonight, she would be taking her vacation. It was something she'd been looking forward to for the past few weeks. She had been planning on visiting family out of town and seeing some old friends from high school. She had been thinking about it a lot. She finished up her work and was about to make her way to the back so that she could clock out. But it was at this moment that she heard the entrance to the shop open. Allison looked up to see a nice-looking man walk in. He had a smile on his face, despite the large black bags under his eyes. The man looked at Allison and asked if he could still get a cup of coffee. Allison had just finished putting everything up and wasn't sure if there was any fresh coffee made. The man's smile turned into a look of disappointment. This made Allison feel rather terrible, as he looked like he had had a rough night. He had on a black jumpsuit, almost like a mechanic's, and the man's suit had a name tag on it that read Jerry, and he was wearing gray work gloves. The man gave a sigh and was about to turn around, but Allison, being as friendly as she is, decided to make the man a fresh cup of coffee. She told him that it would be a little bit before it would be ready. He said he didn't mind, and he really appreciated it. His face had lit up again with a big smile. Allison told her coworker Roger, who had been restocking in the back, that she would lock up, and so he could go home. Roger took a look outside to see the man sitting at the counter. He gave Allison a sly look, and made a comment about how good-looking the man was. Allison blushed and gave Roger a light punch on the arm. They both laughed. Roger told her not to stay up too late, and that he would miss her while she was on vacation. He mentioned to her that if she needed anything, to give him a call, just in case. One never knew what could happen, especially late at night. She said she would, and told him that she would miss him too. Allison began to brew the coffee and walked back to talk to Jerry, who was patiently waiting for her at the counter. They began to talk and asked each other the normal questions, like everyone does when they first meet someone. Just small conversation to pass the time while the coffee brewed. After a short while, the coffee had finished brewing and Allison served the hot cup to Jerry. He took a long inhale of the steam. He smiled again as he paid for it. He thanked Allison again and turned to leave the shop. She told him she hoped he had a good night and to come back again sometime. The man opened the door, turned to his side to look back at her. His face had somehow changed. The look of pleasantness she had seen before had warped to something just a bit off. Jerry looked at Allison straight in the eyes and said, "Oh, don't worry. I will enjoy my night, and I'll be seeing you real soon." He winked at her and walked out the door. This caught Allison off guard, and it shook her just a little. Allison locked up the place and cleaned the shop again before she left. Allison couldn't get what he had just said out of her head. What had he meant about seeing her real soon? Why had his gaze affected her so much? Allison tried to shrug it off, but it just kept gnawing away at her. She made her way to her car, and as she pulled her keys out of her pocket, she heard the sound of footsteps running towards her. She panicked and turned around. When she felt the sharp pain on the side of her head, everything went back for a moment. Before she could get her vision straight, Allison felt the cold pavement against her skin and a loud ringing in her ears. It was a brief moment of disorientation, and then she realized what was happening. Allison could feel 2 pairs of hands trying to get her clothes off. She started to scream and fight, and could see 2 large men holding her down as she struggled. The men had on weird clown masks and had black clothes. She fought hard and even managed to kick one of the clowns in the balls. He groaned and fell over. The other clown had hit her again. Allison went dizzy but could still feel the man ripping the clothes off her back. She screamed for help but knew no one was around. She couldn't believe what was happening. The other clown had gotten back up. He kicked her in the stomach and called her a bitch. He told her he was going to make her pay even worse for what she did. The clown unzipped his pants. He pulled up her skirt and pulled down her panties. Allison screamed one last time. The man gazed at her and said, "Bitch, you should be saving those screams for what's about to." And at that moment, Allison heard a clanking sound, and almost immediately blood trickled down the clown's mask. A large machete-like blade glistened with blood at the top of the clown's skull. The sound of a grunt, and the blade was pulled from the clown. The body went limp and fell forward. The man holding Allison yelled out in shock, let go of her, and began to run away. He didn't get very far, as the man who wielded the machete lunged forward and with a clean swipe lopped the clown's head off. Allison was paralyzed from what had just taken place. She wanted to vomit, but she held her resolve. She looked to the man who had just saved her from the would-be rapists. She clutched her clothes and stood up slowly, still feeling hazy from the blows to her head. "Thank you so much for saving me," she said, shaking where she stood. The man turned around. Allison couldn't believe it. The man wore a black jumpsuit, black gloves, and looked just like a mechanic. The name tag, Jerry, now covered in blood, identified him as the man she had served coffee to. He wore a black helmet, almost like a motorcycle helmet, but much thinner. A red dagger with the word Goretooth underneath it was painted on the side of the helmet. The man was a true hero, a vigilante who roamed the streets protecting the innocent from evil, just like in all the shows. The man took off his helmet, and he had a strange, frightening grin on his face. "What was that you said, hun?" Jerry asked. Allison said again, trying to regain her confidence back, "Thank you for saving me from those creeps. You're a real hero, you know that?" She tried to smile at him, but when she looked to him, her heart stopped. Jerry didn't have a smile on his face anymore. He wore a puzzled look. He turned around and shook his head. Allison thought she offended him by what she had said. Jerry squatted down and began to sob. Allison rushed over to him, but stopped halfway when he stood up. He wasn't sobbing. He was laughing. My God, he was laughing. "Save you? I wasn't saving you. I was protecting you, my pet. Yes, I couldn't let these punks take away my toy, okay? No. So you're mine, you see, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna let these freaks take you," he said, a crazed look in his eyes and crackling like a madman. Now let's go home and play." It had been weeks since Allison had gone missing. The police were still trying to put together what had happened. The recent events, coupled with a string of murders taking place all over the town, had them baffled. The people in the town really didn't seem to mind, though. Most of the people who had been murdered were pedophiles, rapists, gang members, and honestly, no one really minded. The only clues left behind were a red dagger painted on the side of the buildings. The only strange thing about it was that in the last few cases, a new insignia started to appear along with the dagger. A single red rose. Hi everyone, Ghostpaw here, and I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to help the channel grow, please hit that like button, share with your friends, leave a comment, and subscribe for more spooky tales. And remember, Ghostpaw is always hunting, and it might just be you.